Hey, good morning, everybody. This is Mark again. I'm in a different car. I'm in a different state, but it's Saturday morning here in Texas, and I am thrilled to be talking to y'all. I've did a lot of thinking since last week, and I have decided that I am going to start a show. I'm in marketing, and video seems to be the way to connect with everybody. And I am interested in interviewing other entrepreneurs, seeing how they got to where they're at, what are some struggles they have overcome, what are some challenges they've had, those kind of things. And this is episode 1. I'm kind of doing it as we drink a cup of coffee, kind of coffee and conversation type deal, if you will. And I have a special guest that I'd like to bring on today. His name is Dumas, and he runs a show of his own called Abundance Life Daily. He's a Facebook friend. I haven't met him in real life. We haven't really even talked in real life. We have sent a few messages back and forth trying to connect. He posted a post in a group that I'm in of entrepreneurs and authors and that kind of thing not too long ago, asking for anybody who wanted to be on his podcast. And I volunteered, and although that particular date didn't work out, we kind of begun a little bit of a friendship, and I've chosen him to be first. So if you'll give me just a minute here, I'm going to bring on Alex. Let's see how we do this here. Just give me 1 second to figure this out. Request to be in your broadcast. Allow if you're... Y'all just give me 1 second. This is my first time, but we'll get this down. All right, so Alex has been invited, and I assume he will be joining at any time. That's the problem with going live, is you never know what's going to happen. But I want to do it live. I don't want to edit it. I don't want to go back and clean things up. I want it to be live. I want it to be raw. I want it to be real. So let me just see here. I tried to bring him in. I texted him on my other phone. Let's see. All right. Let me see here. All right, Alex. Hey, buddy. I have sent you the invitation. I see that you're watching. So if there's any way that you can log on here, I've already introduced you. Okay, he's bringing them on. All right. Well, let's see. It says it's adding you. I wonder if it'll do this as a split screen. It says decline there. Hold on a second. That's the problem. This is my first time, people. So I just asked Dumas on camera. It says he's adding. Let's see here. All right, I'm trying to add you, Alex. I see that you're watching.
Hey, there we go.
Here we go. There we go.
Yeah.
All right.
I had to rotate my phone.
Okay.
Horizontally.
All right. Cool. Well,
So,
I'm glad you joined.
Don't know these big words that I don't. These big words I don't understand, like horizontal and vertical.
I got you. Well, I gave a little bit of an introduction. I told people that you had your own podcast going on with Abundance Life Daily. I told him that I didn't know you. I've never really talked to you.
Okay.
That we were Facebook friends, and you had made a post in a group asking for people to be. Hey, did I lose you there, buddy? I may have lost him. Just video it and edit it and put it up. I don't know. It's all right. It's the first one. We'll get through it.
Man, okay, here we go. Whoa, upside down, topsy-turvy. What is going on? What in
I
the
don't know,
world?
but you know what? I know the second one gonna be better than the first one.
This is hilarious. What is going on?
Okay.
What?
Okay. Our first
Hold
guest
on,
is
wait a
from
minute.
outer
This is what?
space.
Oh
Oh
my goodness.
wow.
Hold on, let me. Oh, I'm gonna hop off and I'm gonna try this again. This is crazy.
Okay, hop off. I'm not discouraged. This is great. I'm glad just to be doing it and not making an excuse about why I'm not doing it. How exactly we get. Alex is a great guy. I've been checking out his Facebook page, and he seems to be a real positive individual. Seems like he's been in some low places in life, but he has picked himself up and told me one time that his wife walked in the room and gave him a choice. It was the way he was living.
Yes!
Hey, there you go,
Boom!
buddy. There you go.
Jeez Louise.
Okay. All
That's
right. All right.
hilarious.
Big round of applause for Alex. All right, buddy. So
Perseverance,
anyway,
man. You never quit. Never say die.
well, I appreciate you being my first guest. I appreciate the
Yes.
opportunity you extended to me to be on your show, and hopefully we can get that scheduled.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. We'll definitely get that connected.
so tell us a little bit about yourself, your show that you run, how you came to be in your entrepreneurial journey. I'm
Hmm.
I'm interested in hearing. I'm sure people in the group are as well.
Yeah, no problem. Like you said, my name is Alex Dumas. I'm originally from New York, living right now in North Carolina. Me and my family. So me and my wife, Sarah, we both run the podcast and the business together, Abundance Daily, and really, my journey is like anybody else's. Where grew up in a middle class home. Youngest of four. Pretty good education. Friends, enjoyed sports. Comic books. Just doing what kids do. But part of my story is having a lot of anxiety, having a lot of challenges finding my own identity and kind of being connected with people. So I had a lot of just weird dumb thoughts in my head growing up where I felt like I didn't belong, or people were better than me, or just all these different limiting beliefs. And I would just repeat them to myself over and over again and find things that would manifest that. I would fail in school. I would fail a grade in summer school, or, not be the most popular. Girls didn't like me here, or whatever, all the stupid stuff that you think about as a kid. But that's the stuff that's important to you at the time. And that's all you really obsess about. So growing up, got involved with using drugs, really weed was like my drug of choice, but obviously spiraled into other things, cocaine, heroin, mushrooms, different pills, opiates, things like that. So it was just, and that was my life for like pretty much a good 8 years of just using and abusing, really messing up a lot of relationships, pushing away a lot of people in my life that were, trying to support me. But when you're in that cloud, when you're in that fog, you can't really see anything. You can't see clearly
Mhm.
because your mind is focused on, I got to get the next high. I got to get money. So I'll steal, I'll rob, I'll cheat, I'll do whatever it takes to get it. You know what I mean? And
Mhm.
that's part of the darkness of it. That's part of the grip that I call it, because you try to let go, you try to wiggle out, it's not doing you, it's not doing you any good. It's killing you, it's hurting the people that are around you, that love you. But when you're on that single track, that's all that matters. That's all I used to think about. It was just when's the next one? When's the next one? Next blunt,
Right.
next pill, next this, and that was it. So that was like that for, like I said, about 8 years, 9 years, and then meeting my wife, she helped get me helped get me correct. Helped me clean up because I had a different purpose now. And I'm not saying for people like you have to put everything, rely on other people to, bring you out of yourself. You have to find it within yourself to
Right.
first. You have to want it. You have to desire it. You have to want to get better and get help and get your life together. But she was really one of the big catalysts for me, and now going on 12 years strong. You know, that stuff's out of my life. You know, so no
Well,
dependence
that's
on that.
commendable.
Yeah, thank
So
you.
you went from being low down,
Right.
and now you're a high energy type person. You have this podcast where you encourage other people. How
Yeah.
did that transition take place? How do you go from being low down and disgusted with yourself and everybody disgusted with you around you to
Yeah.
rising up to being a pillar of at least the online community, and I'm assuming in your local community as well? How does that happen?
Yeah. Man, that's a great question, and it's part of the journey along the way is as I was going to college and still kind of messing around with stuff, still using whatever. Um, my background's in psychology because I really wanted to kind of get a better understanding of myself and understand
Mm-hmm.
like why do I think this way? Why am I doing what I do? And that kind of led me down the road of like helping, working in jobs with developmentally disabled individuals because I have a big heart. I love to help. I love to serve people. It was just obviously at that time I was more focused on serving myself and the greed aspect of it and just the self-destruction. But from there, leading me onto sales, leading me onto supporting people, and then getting eventually into connecting with different coaches and investing in myself with programs and personal development. I spent a couple of years in financial services, and that started to tweak things for me as far as identity, and started to open my eyes. Like, you know what, I I love to help people. What are some ways that I can offer more people more value? What are some ways that I can do more for people? Because you know, in the financial space, seeing people like struggle with money and stuff like that, it was like, man, what the heck is going on? Like, how is this happening? And it's not necessarily just about the dollar signs. It's really what's going on here to here, between the 2 years, and like, and just seeing people with the same situation as me is like, they're thinking these negative thoughts. They're thinking, um, money's hard to come by. They're thinking they're not good enough. They're thinking their dreams are not possible because of their backgrounds, of their upbringing, of their circumstances. So now they're just saying, "Well, I've been this way forever. This is how it's always been. So I might as well just keep going on the path." I'm like, "No, that's not the way to do it because I want my life to be that living proof and testament that you can turn it around." And we see these examples all the time. My story isn't even as hard as other people who have dealt with sexual abuse and physical abuse and near death experiences with drugs and alcohol. I mean, mine's pretty PG compared to a lot of other people, but my story is my story. Is what it
Sure.
is. And that those work environments that led me into this space of now building up this coaching practice with my wife because we see a big need for individuals see a big need for couples, especially
Exactly
married
what kind of
couples to
coaching do you do?
right now we're it's funny you ask because we just really are working on a big rebrand with the business, so we're going to be coaching married couples to build businesses together because me and my wife, we've had experience with like network marketing, MLM, direct sales, other sales and things like that, and it's always been kind of separate. And
Mm-hmm.
this movement, Abundance Daily, this is the first time that we've ever really started to work together
Mm-hmm.
and really work toward a single purpose and a single vision. And it's been incredible. Like over this last, let's see, it's been about a year and a half, almost 2 years, that we've really kind of started to put these things in place together because a lot of it's part of the ego side. Like I want to build it. I want to be the person that saves the family and is the superhero. But that's stupid. That's scarcity mindset. It's like
Okay.
me and her are together. Why don't we just build it together? We're building a life together. We have 2 kids together. We have a house together. We're sharing everything together. Let's build this business because she has her strengths. I have my strengths. Together, we can be unstoppable. So it just made
Well,
sense.
I like that point of view, and I'm in a similar situation.
Yeah.
I was in a situation one time when I owned a business and I had somebody who worked against me. Everything I
Mm,
wanted to do, they thought was stupid and that I shouldn't need to do that. And
yeah.
that made it kind of hard. And I got out of that situation. I got out of that business, and I'm in another business, and I have a partner, and we live together, we work together, we do everything together. Um, but that brings up another question.
Sure.
So when you live and you work with your partner, um, how do you balance the workload? I find myself a lot working late hours, and we're in the office together working. So I kind of feel like we're together, but she kind of feels like we're not together because we're
Yeah.
working. And
Right.
you work all the time. There's never no time for me. And it's like, well, if I don't work, we can't keep the lights on. Right. Um, so,
Yeah.
how do you find that balance of being in a work relationship with the same person you're in a life relationship with?
Yeah. I think part of that is both of you getting on the same page, being clear about who's doing what. With you let's just use the podcast for example. For the
Mm-hmm.
most part, me and her, do our recordings, together, obviously, and I usually work on the editing and some of the copy, and she works on like the graphics and images and stuff like that. And we both share on social media, and we're both doing the videos. I probably do a little bit more, but she does her stuff too, so it's not to diminish anything she does. But yeah, it's really just about figuring out like the delegations. Like I'm an outgoing person. I'm a whatever blow go guy. So I'm always outreaching to people. I'm always connecting like we are right now. I'm a connector. That's what I do. She's kind of, I mean, she's starting to get more into that and do collaborations with people, but she's been more kind of like behind the scenes. She's more reserved than I am. So she thinks of more of like the business side, the financial, administrative kind of things. But I do, that's kind of like how the roles have been. I don't want
Mm-hmm.
to say that we've been like concrete, like you only do this because
Sure,
that's
sure,
limiting.
sure.
Because there's opportunity for both of us to do things together. She's learned how to do copy. I'm learning to copy with her together. I handle most of the recordings. As far as emails and stuff like that go, we both. I find that dynamic is like we both have to stay communicating together and figuring out, hey, what's the plan for the day? What are we doing? You know what I mean? Because I hate to go through a day and be like, well, it's 10, 12 hours later. Like, what'll be done? Like, no, we need to have a
Right.
plan, set things so that now it's we're scheduling our family time first, time together. If we need to have like a date day or something like that, or time with the kids, we do that first, business second, and then we make sure if we are in business mode, it's business. Like we're not playing around, we're not joking. It's let's get to it.
Right. I got you. Um,
Yeah.
Tell me about an event in your entrepreneurial journey
Hmm.
where it was a big loss and what you did about it. How
Man.
did how did how did you turn a loss into a win, or how did you um become how'd you overcome the disappointment of a big loss that you had? And then I'll share a story with you.
Yeah, man, that's a great question. Great thank you for that. Well, I want to just bring everybody back to a couple years ago, so 2015, right? Honestly, uh, by far worst year of my life. I can say that for sure. This is like in the start of when I was working in the financial services, and I was doing that part time, still working full time, at my job, and in the span of a few months, my son was born in April, right? Toward the end of April, my mother had wound up passing away 3 days after he was born. So obviously, rough patch right there. New baby, dealing grieving over my mother passing, whatever stuff happens. A couple months later, I get fired from my job. So I'm like, shoot. So in the span of like 90 days, all this stuff is going upside down and topsy turvy. So that was a real challenge right there. And then so I decided, hey, I'm gonna go work this financial business full time and just go full force with it. That did not pan out to what we wanted because a lot of it really was with me, my actions, my beliefs. I was operating from scarcity where I was trying to get people. I was trying to recruit people in my business and trying to be a hunter versus a farmer, and I really struggled there, and I had to go go back to work and go find a full-time job. But during that year, I mean, that was probably the biggest disappointment because it was just us constantly fighting and arguing, us constantly stressing. She's like, "What are you doing? What's going on?" Looking at the numbers, like, "Hey, you're not bringing enough money." I'm like, "What are we doing?" And me holding on to my pride as a man, like, "I can do this. I can do this. I don't need anybody else's help, and I'm just gonna go blow and go and do whatever I got to do and pound my head against the pavement." But that just did nothing, and it really tore a big hole between us for a while. I mean, it was just really tense, but we worked through it because I just sucked it up. Like, all right, I got to put food on the table. I got to provide for the kids, provide for you. So started to do that, and then in that transition time, that's where we started to discover coaching, and that's where we were both like, this makes sense for what we want to do because I don't want to necessarily be a financial advisor for the rest of my life. I mean, finances are important. We talk about that with our business, the money mindset, but really we saw coaching as like, hey, this is the vehicle. This is what we want to do. We are both good at this. Let's sharpen our skills. Let's get some more expertise. Let's get some more training. Um,
Now, did you invest
let's
in
find
a
out how to do
personal
this.
coach yourself? Did you have a
Yeah,
coach?
yeah. I mean, yeah, we invested in different online programs and things like that. So yeah, I mean, and we've sat with mentors. Back in our old industries, we've been mentored by millionaire coaches and stuff like that. So there's a lot there that we've taken and we've ingested, and now it's really us focusing abundance daily on the application of it.
So basically, you went through the hard time. You
Yeah,
your mother passed, you were fired, other personal issues going on, and
yeah,
that kind of moved you in the direction to start your own thing where you're doing the coaching now, the abundance daily, that kind of thing.
yeah. I mean, it actually it's kind of funky how all those disappointments it led me into a work position where I was working sales and it was working with like a merchant services company, and their clientele, which is a unique niche, is like they were working with small business owners and coaches and entrepreneurs. So I really had no idea about that kind of stuff. I mean, I knew about like Les Brown and Jim Rohn, but I really didn't know about like speakers and coaches and brands and things like that. And that initial exposure just opened my eyes. I'm like, wow, this is really cool. Like, this is stuff I would really love to do. This is kind of what I've been looking for to do. I just didn't know it existed. And
Right.
so really, those disappointments, that failure in the financial services, space, led me to that because I don't think if I didn't find that, initial position, I would have, even gone down this route. I probably would have still, I'd probably still be searching for what do I do in my life, but
I got
it all happens for a reason. God put us here for a reason and put that in place.
absolutely. I
Yeah,
got a story I'll share with you.
yeah,
It was right after 2015. It was in 2016 in January. I had started a blue gray marketing, which is my business that I am part owner in with my partner, Honesty Row.
mm,
And as I said earlier, we're together, and we decided to start this business in August of 2015. And it's not my first marketing business. I had another one that I ran completely on my own called Effective Marketing Solutions. And with that, I had experience selling websites. I had somebody else build them, but I'd sell them.
Okay.
And running social media pages and that kind of thing. And the opportunity came up for me to start another business like that. And I had some clients that had knew me from before on referrals, and they were knocking at my door saying, "Hey, will you do this?" And at the time, I was unemployed, and she hated her job, and
Yeah.
her favorite color is gray. My favorite color is blue. And I said, "Well, let's do this. Let's start this together. Blue gray marketing. We'll do it together." And I've done it before, but I can't do it by myself. So we started. And when I had Effective Marketing Solutions, there was this great big restaurant conglomerate in town. I don't want to say their name because they're liable to sue me. They got big lawyers, right? But
Yeah, don't get in trouble on my account.
I won't get broke. But anyway, they owned a bunch of restaurants in downtown Fort Myers, and anybody from where I'm from is going to know who I'm talking about. And they own a whole bunch right down in the strip of downtown Fort Myers. And they were kind of my goal. I was like, man, I really wanted that restaurant group. I grew up in restaurants. I understand restaurants. I like working in them. I know how to market them, those kind of things. So they had like 8 or 9 different concepts downtown, and I wanted them. And it was October. I'd been in business like a month and a half, maybe 2 months. And my goal at that time was to make $1,000 a week. If I could make $1,000 a week, I could be comfortably broke. Right? I
I
wasn't
mean, it
making
is
any
life
money,
changing. Yeah, but yeah.
right?
I got
I
you.
wasn't making
I'm
no
with you.
money,
That's
but I
yeah.
could be comfortably broke at $1,000 a week. So, and I started this at like 200 a week. So I'm moving
Okay.
along, moving along, moving along, and I land this client. And the way I landed him was really, a unique story all of its own. But I landed this client, and here's what I found out about him. It was my dream client, and
Hmm.
it turned out they were nightmares. Right?
Oh my.
I was working 90 to 100 hours a week just on this one client. Not
Wow.
every I ain't talking about my whole business, because I tell that to some people and they say, "Well, you own your own business. You should put in that kind of hours." Well, not on one client.
No.
Right? I still had all my other business.
That's.
It was just this one client. So then I went in to get my money. At that time, I didn't have a good business model.
Mhm.
I was having trouble trying to communicate to people, to business owners, why they needed my services, uh, what I could do for them. I knew what I could do, but I was better off if I could show you as opposed to telling you. Now, that's how I
Right.
started. That's not the way it is now, but that's how it was then. And I didn't have a good business model. I had a business model where I brought on a new client at a trial rate. And then after the trial period, I raised the price. And that didn't work out for nobody. Nobody wants a jump in price.
Yeah.
So after this lesson with this company, I changed all that. But I went in to get my check on January 5th, and they told me that they decided to hire somebody internal and that
Hmm.
they would no longer be working with me. And as a
Okay.
matter of fact, the money that they owed me, they wasn't even going to pay me. Right? They called me all the way up there. It ain't like they called me on the phone and said, "We're not going to pay you." They called me all the way up to get my check. Then I went up there to get my check, and the girl walked in the office where I was sitting, because of the actions of one of their general managers at one of their restaurants,
Right.
something they did. They went in and changed their holiday hours on the Facebook page. Well, they didn't tell me. So I didn't know
Uh,
they changed it. I didn't know it needed to be changed back. So they said, because you didn't change the hours back, we're not paying you. And I walked out of there
oh,
upset. right? Matter of fact, I remember my phone bill was due, and I was dependent on that money to pay my phone bill, and they was going to turn my phone off the next day. I mean, it was serious.
Wow.
So I didn't know what I was going to do, but I remember it was a Wednesday. And at the time, I have a shared custody agreement with my ex-wife, and my day to get the kids were a Wednesday. So Honesty had my kids. It was Wednesday, and she was waiting on me to get home because they're not her kids, they're mine, right? I need to be there. And I called her. It was about 5 o'clock. I called her and said, "Listen, I know I need to get there. I know you got the girls, but I heard about this networking thing. I've never been networking, but
Mhm,
because of everything that's just happened, I think I should go to this." And she said, "Okay, go, baby."
mhm.
So I went, and that networking event, as I look back, it didn't yield me anything. But while I was there, I was very encouraged. I got 3 leads while I was there. As I say, in hindsight, they didn't work out, but on the front end, I didn't know that.
Is progress in that, at that
Right. So I
moment.
got three
Yeah.
leads. And then the lady who ran the networking meeting came up to me and gave me 2 pieces of advice. She says, have you ever been networking before? And I said, "No, ma'am." And she said, "Well, let me give you 2 pieces of advice. The first piece, don't tell people what you do. Don't walk up to somebody and say, 'Hey, I'm Mark. I own Blue Gray Marketing. I work on website.' But
Right.
don't do that. Go up to people and ask them what they do. They'll
Absolutely.
tell you. And if
Yeah.
they care what you do, they'll ask. If they don't ask, they don't care anyway." So that
Right.
was the first piece of advice. I thought that was worthwhile. She said the second piece, schedule the appointment before you leave the room. Don't leave the
Mm.
room talking about, "Hey, let's get together." Schedule the appointment before you leave the room. So I was welcomed. I got some advice. I got 3 leads, and that excited me. So they had another networking meeting 2 weeks later. So I went to that one. And when I went to that one, I met a guy who would change my life. His name is Tim Jacobs. He's actually a member of this group. So if you're watching, Tim, appreciate you. But he invited me to his networking group, which was called Master Networks. And a lot of people in this group are in Master Networks. You're in Georgia, right?
I'm in North Carolina.
Oh, I thought you was in Georgia. Okay.
No,
They got a
no.
big presence in Georgia. I don't know if there's any Master Networks in North Carolina or not. But so a Master Networks is a nationwide organization that has local chapters, I think, in 22, 23 states, something like that. And each area is a region. It's owned by a region partner. You can kind of think of it like a franchise, maybe. And
Okay.
it's a group of entrepreneurs, business leaders, and we get together once a week for an hour, and we share business experiences. We undergo a business training, and we pass referrals to each other. So I walked in to the first meeting because this guy invited me. And to this day, he will say that he told me 9:30 and I was late. And I will still say he told me 10:30 and I was early. Right. But anyways, I walked in about 10:15. And this was the end of their meeting because it did start at 9:30 and it ended at 10:30. But at the
Hmm.
end of their meeting, they all stand up and they give thank yous about um, any meetings or referrals they had over the course of the last week. And I come in late during their thank you period, and I sat down a little sheepishly, because I was late. I didn't know anybody. And
Right.
the one person stood up and said, "Oh, I want to thank this person because they sent me a referral this week." They sat down. The next person stood up. "Oh, I'd like to thank so and so. They sent me a referral." The next one, "I'd like to thank so and so. They sent me a referral. I closed the deal. Thank you." And it was like popcorn. There was probably 30, 40 people in this room, and they were just bop, 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 bop. They were all standing up and thanking everybody for the referrals. And I'm thinking, man, this is the group I need to be a part of,
Yeah.
right?
That's
And I I wasn't able to join that group because it was exclusive seating, and my industry was spoken for in that seat. But I was able to help start another chapter across town, and I got involved in Master Networks. And I probably would, and I got thoughts jumbled here. Master Networks has been tremendous in me growing my business. It has been tremendous in me upping my averages. And when I say that in the sense of I have a whole new set of friends
mm,
now today than what I had before. Um, it took me a while to learn that, we're going about as far as our circle of friends is going. Right?
yeah.
And if you look around you and you don't want to be anybody well, it's probably time to start replacing the people in your circle, you know.
Absolutely. It's all about the
Um,
associations.
right. So that's kind of what the up your averages is. So I I had this really bad experience that almost crippled me because I had just got to my grand a week. Actually, I was about 1,200 a week, and just like that, I went down to 200 a week. Uh, Not only did I lose this great big conglomerate that had eight or nine restaurants, I was collecting a check from each one every week, but I had two other clients at that time. One was football related, and of course, in January, football's winding down,
Right.
and then going into February, so that was a seasonal client. Then I had another client that I had on a 90-day agreement or something, and that expired the end of December, and he didn't want to renew. So,
Hmm.
so right there at January 5th, I lost my big conglomerate as well as two of my other clients. And I was basically back down to trying to decide, do I take this $1.50 and buy gas, or do I run into the store and buy some toilet paper for the house, or right? Like, what do I do with this
Yeah.
$1.50?
Yeah.
Right?
That's
So it was a real uncomfortable position. And I started going to Master Networks, and I probably wouldn't have went had I not been at such a low point that I was willing to try something new.
right.
And I got a message here. Hold on. Uh, and the founder of Master Networks, who's also a member of this group, his name is Chaz Wilson. He has a saying that he says, "You're only one relationship away from changing your entire future."
Mm,
One relationship. So if you're one relationship away from changing your entire future, then why aren't you trying to meet as many people as possible?
absolutely.
Right? So that kind of changed my whole uh perspective on things. It put me on a whole nother journey. Man, I got the sun beaming. Um, it put me on a whole nother journey. It changed my life. It changed my business. And I'm a member of Master Networks today. And if they was in North Carolina, I would suggest you become a member too. But I don't think they're in North Carolina. But so I appreciate you sharing some of your story. I've been a pretty low down myself, and
Yeah.
but I believe it's just all part of the journey. It's because I've been low down that I can be high up. If
Yes.
I know some people who have a story and they have never really been through anything. And I guess that's their story. And if I had the opportunity to go through life like that, I guess I probably would
Yeah.
prefer that. Right? But that's not what
But at the
happened
same
to
time,
me.
like you have experiences, though. You have something tangible you went through, and there's something that your message is going to connect with someone else's. If I just live my life in a bubble, bland, vanilla, and nothing really bad, nothing really great, nothing exceptional. I mean, is that even a life? You know what I mean?
Right.
Is there if there's nothing remarkable you can even look back at? Can you even say like, oh well, I done what God put me here to do.
Right.
This.
So let me ask you this: if people want to, if they're interested in your coaching, if they're
Hmm.
interested in listening to your podcast, or getting in contact with you to be on your podcast, I guess that's still an open invitation, right? Um,
Right, right.
how do they do that? Speak about that a little bit.
Yeah, not a problem. So you can find out more information about me and my wife on abundancedaily.com. That's our website. The podcast is also titled Abundance Daily. Like we said, we actually just, this week really is kind of funny. We just decided, like, we're going to rebrand it. We're going to redo everything because the direction where we're going, like, we liked it, but I think we can fine tune it more. So that's why we're going to be gearing it more toward couples, more toward those can I speak? Entrepreneurial minded couples that are in business together, that are working, that are busting their tails, that are trying to figure out a way how they can start succeeding together. And we're going to be gearing more of the episodes toward that. The guests that we're going to bring on, we really want to foster that more as like almost like master classes for them, because we want to be able to add value. We want to be able to, someone listens to me for 20, 30 minutes throughout their part of their week on a podcast. I want them to walk away thinking, shoot, I can do this. I'm I'm educated now. I'm empowered with and equipped with more information, more tools in the toolbox. And with the coaching side, abundancedaily.com, best way to do that. Or they can contact me directly, Alex at abundancedaily.com, or go to support@abundancedaily.com. Um, Find me and my wife on Instagram. I'm at the real Alex Dumas, Dumas. My wife Sarah, Sarah_Dumas 888. The numbers 888. You can find us both on Instagram, on Facebook. We're all over the place. Abundance Daily. Uh, yeah, Abundance Daily, the number 8, because somehow somebody has Abundance Daily out there. I don't know who it is. I'm gonna find them and like tell them, "Here, give me that domain, because like it's mine. It belongs to me.
Right,
It's mine."
right.
But no, but all jokes aside, yeah, those are the best ways to kind of get in contact with us. And we're going to be creating um, some more mini series and more mini courses, free courses, as geared toward those couples. We just been talking about it all morning today. I've been up since 5 because I'm just fired up about it. Like, we literally just had this in our heads, like, this week. It just kind of like switched, like we talking about, like, let's tweak it this way. Let's make the show about this. Is kind of geared to business toward this, because that's going to be more in line that of what we're doing. We want to be able to help different husband and wife, couples, um, that are in our situation where we're working full time, we're building a business, we're dealing with the kids, we're dealing with whatever life throws at you. We can coach them on that. We can kind of share our insights, our tips, and the things we've been through and things that we're doing, and hopefully they'll help you grow too. So
Well,
we're gonna have
cool.
some cool packages
We have a
together.
lot
Yeah,
of entrepreneurs in this group, up your averages.
yeah.
Um, are you looking for any of them to be guests on your podcast, or exactly what type of person are you looking for if you're not looking for an entrepreneur?
Uh, well, with the guest side, that's one thing we're still figuring out, as far as, are we gonna still be doing as many interviews? I mean, after a while, probably, like, obviously by the beginning of the summer, I'm probably gonna like slow down on doing interviews and really just kind of focusing on stuff, like everybody that we've had in our pipeline right now that we have as guests and people that are reaching out. Obviously, we're gonna I'm connecting with you. We're gonna have you on our show. Um, no, we're gonna do that. But as far as anyone we're looking to have on the show, I would say, if if you are an entrepreneur, if you have some, I guess they open up to, like, that conversation. What is your business about? We want to be able to help people out thinking about different mindset tips, different strategies as far as marketing goes. If there's someone out there who's a specialist in branding, someone who's good at planning, whatever. I guess thinking about, like, what is going to take for someone to build a business from start to finish, and anybody who's got expertise in, like, video production, editing, PR, whatever. I think I'm open to having those conversations with them, seeing what they do, and then kind of figuring out what's the best value that they can add to an audience, as far as training, and obviously them getting connected to that person, help them build their
Okay.
list too.
Okay. So anybody listening to this that meets those criteria, I guess, is free to try and contact you, message you in Messenger or
Yeah. Fair. I'm open
message
to
you
being
at
contacted, and yeah, we'll connect and we'll see. Is it a good fit? Let's be a good
right.
fit on both sides. I want to make sure that they get the most out of it, and obviously we're bringing in traction to our uh, our audience as well, growing numbers and downloads and subscriptions and all that too. So,
All
want to make
right,
sure
cool.
everybody's it's good for both sides.
And just so anybody who's listening on your side who may not know who I am,
Mm-hmm.
I'm Mark Cass of Blue Gray Marketing, specialize in SEO, social media, web design, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I'm open to do business in North Carolina as well as anywhere else in the country. I'm located. Um, I have a presence in Florida as well as North Texas. If I'm going to deal with somebody locally, that would be
Mm-hmm.
considered local for me. But I also deal with people all over the nation as well. But what I'm really passionate about is my Up Your Averages group.
Yeah.
I believe
This is
you're
an
the
awesome group,
average.
by the way.
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah.
It isn't all me. I got some great people that help share for sure. But I believe you're the average of the 5 people you most closely associate with. I
Yeah.
also believe that upping your averages with has more to do than just people you associate with. I believe it's about improving your overall diet, and your diet
Mm.
includes the food you eat. It includes the lifestyle you live. Is it a healthy lifestyle? Is it a sedentary
Yes.
lifestyle? I believe it has to do with what you feed your mind. Are you listening to music that praises things that are not good for you? Or are you
Mm-hmm.
listening to podcasts that build you up? Are you,
Right.
whatever you're listening to, it's either lifting you up or it's tearing you down, one or the other. And I believe when you set about to up your averages, you are improving in all areas. I went to an annual convention for Master Networks a few years ago, and there was a keynote speaker whose name was Logan Stout. I've actually recently just became Facebook friends with him. I doubt he knows who I am, but either way, he was a keynote speaker, and he was talking about he was a coach to some CEO type people, Fortune 500 companies. He said, if I told you their names, you would absolutely know them. He didn't name them in the conference, but he said that we would all know them. And he said he was a coach to this one guy who was a CEO of a Fortune 500 company, and he was up in his 70s, and he had spent his whole life just trying to build and build and build this business, and now he had millions and millions of dollars, but he had this incurable disease, and he
Yeah.
realized that he hadn't spent time with his family. He realized he was lacking spiritually. He
Yeah.
realized he didn't take out time for his personal development, for his personal health. And now he's at the end of his life, and he's achieved all that he wanted to professionally and financially, but he realized that he didn't build the other aspects, and what he's achieved over here is now really worthless because he's got
Yeah.
this disease that's going to take it all from him. So that really made impact with me at that time, because I was one of those who would grind 18 hours a day on my business, and
Yeah.
I justified it, because if I'm not out doing this 18 hours a day, then we don't have lights. And then we don't have food. Then we don't pay for the car. I ain't got time for family. I ain't got time for this. I ain't got time for that. I'm
Yeah.
trying to keep the
Yeah.
damn lights on. Right. That's how my mindset was. But that's also, as you said, a mindset of scarcity as opposed to a mindset of abundance.
Yeah.
Also, I come away from there really challenged to not put all my effort into work and to spread my effort out, because I needed to invest in personal development. I
Yeah.
needed to be sure that I invested in my family. At that time, I lived in Florida, and I was one neighborhood away from my children, and I have 2 girls who are 8 and 6,
Oh,
And then a little boy I'm raising as well who is 6. And I remember I'd be in my office on the weekends and I'd have my kids and they would want to come in my office and bother me. Right.
yeah, right. It's
And
definitely had to bother me.
right.
No.
And I, I used to find myself trying to balance it because in one sense I would be aggravated because they're in my office and they're bothering me and I'm working. And in another sense I would be like, no, you have to stop. You have to take this time for
Spend
them.
time.
This is their
Yeah.
time with you. And as much time as you're spending behind this computer and in this office, you're stealing time from them.
Yes.
You work Monday through Friday, give them the weekend. I mean, I should give them more, but that's when I had them. I got them on Friday night. I gave them back on Monday night. So
Hmm.
I often found myself betwixt because I'd be wanting to work, but my kids would be there demanding my time, not allowing me to work. And I was thankful that I had them there. I was
Yeah.
thankful if I, whatever else happened with my schedule, I needed my kids there on the weekend bothering me. Right?
Yeah.
Because if they
Yeah.
don't, then I just work. And I needed to
Right.
come out of the office. I needed to be daddy. And that was um, a, le- a lesson I had to learn. And it wasn't a real easy one. But even though I heard this guy speak 2 years ago, the message he gave is still resonating with me today. And I've invested in a business coach. It's
Hmm.
not always easy to pay him, I promise you.
No,
It's not
no,
always
for
easy.
sure. Yeah.
But
Any program, any personal
I get
coach.
so
Yeah.
much
It's
out of it.
yeah.
I get so much out of it. And a lot of times I want to work on Sundays, but I force myself to go to church. And not because I'm forcing myself to go to church. I want to go to church. What it is I'm forcing myself to get up away from my desk. That's what I'm
Yeah.
doing. And often that's not easy for me to do. But I'm learning that a full life of an entrepreneur is not just about building your business. It's about building your family. It's about building
Yeah.
your community. It's about building you
For sure.
and
Absolutely.
then the
Hundred
business.
percent.
So that's kind of where I'm at today. I'm at the end of my cup of coffee. um, I really, really appreciate you being my first guest. I'm going to
Oh
try
man.
and do these more. I hope it was worthwhile to your audience. I hope it was worthwhile to the group. Maybe some people will reach out to you as a result of this. But before I go, I got to ask you, how have you got a joke? Let's end
A
everything
joke.
with a smile. Let's make everybody laugh.
Oh man. Oh man. Whew. This and I know you send it out to be like, yeah, come over with a joke. I'm like, I am the maybe this is a limited belief. Like I'm the worst joke teller. I'm like funny in person when I do stuff. Ah man, all my jokes are like dirty too. It's not
Oh, don't tell that.
exactly Christian like. It's not
Don't tell
exactly
that.
Christian.
Okay.
Oh man. Um, I'll tell you this one because if this is probably one of the. I'll give you a quick backstory on this because like my brother, one of my older brothers, uh him and this girl like they say like they're playing the dozens, just snapping on each other with jokes and stuff like that. And he told me that she told him the hardest joke he's ever heard in his life that made him just shut up and stop him in his tracks, and he was just
Okay.
done. He had no rebuttal for it. So I'm gonna clean up the language a little bit, but everybody can kind of imagine what I was saying. So what he said was, "How long does it take a black woman to take a poop?" And I was like, "How long?" He was like, 9 months. I said, "Oh, stop it, 9 months." So
I'm glad I didn't tell that.
it was that is one of the hardest, funniest jokes I've ever heard in my life. That I'll never forget it because it was just I can picture his face with someone saying it to him and him just stopping like, boop. I mean, where do you go from there? How do you come back? So
Mm. Well, let me
Hopefully,
tell you.
for those who out there, use it responsibly. If you have somebody you have a good relationship with, and
Oh my
don't
God.
don't go around saying it. This is a public service
Yeah, I'm
announcement.
not gonna repeat that one. But I will tell you this one. I had, and it has a little backstory, and it's kind of funny. I was in a argument with my ex-wife at the time, and we were arguing back and forth on the phone. I was driving, and she was like, "What do you want me to do, Mark? What do you want me to do?" And right at that moment, I decided that I would try and put an end to all this argument. And I said, "This is what I want you to do. I want you to hang up the phone. I want you to get on Google. I want you to Google jokes, and I want you to call me back and tell me a funny joke. That's what I want you to do." And I hung up the phone. Right?
That is brave.
Right?
Little
So
argument.
about 5 minutes later, she called me back, and this is the joke she told me. This is the one she found.
All right.
It was dude's birthday, and his wife went out and got his favorite meal, his favorite wine, and she bought some lingerie, and she had plans to make a nice evening. She come home and she cooked the dinner. She poured the wine on the table. Her lingerie was in the bedroom in the box, and she realized she forgot the dessert. So she jumped in the car and she ran back out to get the dessert. And during the time, the dude come home, and he sits at the table and he eats the meal and he drinks the wine. He goes into the bedroom and he puts on the lingerie.
Oh
And the
no.
chick comes home and she's like, "What are you doing?" And he said, "Well, I told you it's my birthday. I wanted to eat, drink, and be merry."
Ah.
Hey, hey, we gonna end it on that laugh, buddy.
Yes. I like that. It's good.
All right, man. Hey, I appreciate you being on the pod, or I don't know if it's a podcast. I don't know what this is, but I
Hey,
appreciate you
I'm just
being
happy
on
to
the
be.
pod.
I'm happy to talk with you.
It's my first one, and I've got a little saying that encourages me. It's called one in a row. So this is one in a row.
All right.
Anytime that I undertake a task that is large and that I don't know if I can accomplish, I do the first step and I call it one in a row. So that's it. This is one in a row.
Yeah.
I appreciate you being on. Share this across your platforms.
Yeah.
Uh,
Absolutely.
you might want to edit out your joke.
Hey, listen. Everybody knows me. Knows I keep it funky. I keep it keep it 100. So you're either gonna be with me or you're not gonna be with me. It's how it is.
Hey, you're awesome, man. I'm glad to have met you, and
Yeah.
let's keep talking.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Appreciate you,
All right,
Mark.
buddy.
Thank you.